Hey there, A's Day fans. Welcome to our next edition of A's Player Preview and Prediction. We're excited to be coming to you on this wonderful Friday, March 6th. And the reason why we are putting a date on today's show is in lieu of our regularly scheduled Friday programming. Our apologies. We want to make it clear that we will not be posting an additional episode today. We'll be back to regularly scheduled programming on Tuesday. We'll do our World Baseball Classic check-in then. After reviewing the schedule, didn't realize until it was too late after our Tuesday show that a lot of the A's participating in the World Baseball Classic would be playing from Friday on. So we just want to make sure we have a bit more to talk about as compared to just meeting for the sake of meeting. But don't worry, we're going to have plenty of A's content continue, including these A's player preview and prediction episodes continuing to come out daily. So we appreciate each and every one of you stopping by today as we continue on with this wonderful series where we'll be doing one A's player per day all the way up until A's opening day on March 27th, where we conclude the series with an A's team preview and prediction for the overall forecast of what we think of how this team will operate and compete in 2026. Should be a fun way to encapsulate this build-up. So, on today's episode of Player Preview and Prediction, we head to the rotation and talk about the newest A's member, Aaron Civale. He is a native of East Windsor, Connecticut, will be turning 31 during the season on June 12th, actually 2 days before yours truly's birthday, so very fun to be talking about a fellow Gemini today. He was originally selected back in 2016 by the Cleveland Indians in the third round. He made his debut 3 years later on June 21st against the Detroit Tigers, where he went 6 innings, struck out 6 batters, and got the victory in a 2-0 decision in that game. He became the 10th pitcher in MLB history to go at least 5 2/3 innings of work, allowing 2 runs or less in his first 6 career appearances. He stayed with Cleveland until the 2023 season, when he was traded to the Rays at the deadline in exchange for infield prospect Kyle Manzardo. The following year, he would get traded again, this time earlier in July, to the Milwaukee Brewers in exchange for Gregory Barrios. He pitched to a 6-3 record and a 3.53 ERA in 14 starts for the Brewers. Civale was transitioned to the bullpen with the pending promotion of highly touted prospect Jacob Misiorowski, a role he had never served. Following that shoot soon after, he requested a trade to a team that would utilize him as a starting pitcher, and he ended up getting traded to the Chicago White Sox in exchange for Andrew Vaughn. He logged a 2-7 record with a 5.37 ERA with 55 strikeouts in 67 innings pitched. After being designated for assignment, he was picked up by the Chicago Cubs, got to stay in the Windy City, and made 5 appearances from there after getting picked up on August 31st, going 1-0 with a 2.08 ERA with 14 strikeouts and 13 1/3 innings pitched. He ended up this offseason signing with the A's on a 1-year, $6 million deal back on February 10th with the expectation of filling a spot in the rotation. So overall, in 2025, he appeared in 23 games, with 18 of those being starts, pitching to a 4-9 win-loss record with a 4.85 ERA. In 102 innings pitched, he walked 33 batters, struck out 88, had a 20.2 K percentage, a 7.6 walk percentage, and pitched to a 1.26 whip. He does work with a 6-pitch mix, a cutter, curve, sinker, fastball, slider, and splitter. That is how he is going to beat you, because his fastball velocity averaged 92.2 miles per hour on the year, according to Baseball Savant, which ranked in the lowly 19th percentile of all qualified pitchers. So he's not going to beat you with high-octane velocity. He's going to attempt to beat you with location and smarts and movement on his pitches. That's why he works with such a diverse arsenal. He's a very interesting, intriguing candidate. He is someone that is going to come right after you. So he's always going to come around under 10% for a walk percentage, which is great, which means he's going to fill up the strike zone with strikes and allow his defense to work behind him, especially working in those different fastball types in an attempt to keep hitters off balance. The problem, the main one that I see occur in terms of his career trajectory, that fly ball rate, his percentage, has gone up tremendously over the last 3 to 4 years, actually dating back to 2021. Since then, it has gone up from 37.1% up to a career high this past season of 46.9%. That's a problem. especially in Sutter Health Park, where is the second most hitter-friendly park in all of baseball. It basically acts as Coors Field due to there not being a third deck at Sutter Health Park, so it doesn't knock down those fly balls. They'll have an even higher trajectory and have an opportunity to really get into the full peak trajectory of that backspin. So having a fly ball pitcher, that is something Civale is going to need to work on and perhaps really be more reliant on his sinker as compared to his cutter. Because if that cutter flattens out and turns into a very spinning, hittable pitch, that is typically not at your top velocity as compared to your four-seam fastball. So that's something to keep an eye on. I would think that would be my main red flag with Civale. If he remains a fly ball pitcher, perhaps he'll have success on the road, but at home, it may be a tough adjustment, as we saw a lot of A's pitchers have to make throughout the course of last year. But aside from that, when healthy, he is someone that is reliable and will take the ball every fifth day. I do feel like he is a bit in a downward trajectory in terms of his effectiveness as a starter. So I wonder if there will be a potential transition due to lack of performance if that is the case this year. Because we saw once he got picked up by the Cubs for their postseason run, after he had gotten designated for assignment, he was working a lot more effectively out of the bullpen, not having lineups get to face him a third time through. That seems like where his numbers get inflated. Once they see his pitch mix more than once, they have an opportunity to adjust and know where his pitches are going to break and locate, and that's been a problem for Civale over the last few years or so. So with that leads us to our projection. According to Fangraphs, they have him for the 2026 season, appearing in 24 games, all 24 of them being starts, pitching to a 7-8 win-loss record with a 4.64 ERA, and 130 innings pitched, 41 walks, 113 strikeouts, a 20.3 K percentage, and a 7.4 walk percentage, pitching to a 1.30 whip. I do feel like A's brass would take that, especially knowing how hard it is to pitch at Sutter Health Park. But I do feel like there are guys that are competing on this roster for rotation spots that perhaps could pitch it a little bit better. But I do think that experience is going to serve this team well, especially with guys that are looking to perfect their command. Civale definitely has that down. He throws strikes at will. I'm just hoping that he shoots knees and doesn't stay elevated in the zone, because he could have unfortunate outcomes if that is the case. He really needs, in my opinion, to develop that sinker even more into more of a primary pitch as to his sinker, and perhaps he'll have some more success pitching at Sutter Health Park this year. But best of luck to Aaron Civale. The A's definitely needed starting pitching depth. Now I'm glad they were able to go out there and get someone, especially someone that isn't really going to move the needle in terms of financial constraints. Coming in on $6 million, that is good value. I think Civale could serve a purpose well in this rotation, but however, with his versatility and recent experience out of the bullpen, perhaps the A's will turn him into sort of that swingman journeyman that they love to have multiple options to do on the roster in case the bullpen needs some assistance, and perhaps there's an area of regression or ineffectiveness in one area. You can swap guys interchangeable and keep yourself versatile and give yourself a chance to be successful. So with that, with us discussing his projections, we're going to select our A's Day over-under. We're going to look at those 24 starts. And based on how we're viewing Civale, unless he really changes his pitch profiling, I do think he is going to run into some days where he's going to have some tough starts. And I do feel like there are, especially on this A's team, some young guys that are knocking on the door for the opportunity to take the ball every fifth day, where I feel like if Civale gets off to a rough start, which is possible as he is adjusting to this new home ballpark environment, perhaps he will shift to the bullpen, being able to log innings there, getting through a lineup once, perhaps it's a specific right-handed lane, where I feel like Civale's services are going to be best suited at this stage of his career. So with that, we're going to take the under here. We do feel like he is going to be utilized and an important piece to this A's roster, but to be completely honest, I do see him by season's end getting innings out of this A's bullpen as compared into the starting rotation. I do think there's a lot of potential coming behind him, and with that, I feel like if there's an up and down mixed signal result here, got to make the move, especially if this team is in a position to get closer and closer into that postseason discussion, which I think could happen, dependent on how this A's pitching staff responds after a tough 2025. So we take the under there, and that leads us to the conclusion of our A's player preview and prediction episode, talking about right-handed pitcher Aaron Civale. Like we had mentioned, we are excited that he is here and he does throw a ton of strikes. If he can throw those in more hitting-friendly counts, then perhaps we'll be much higher on him. Just based on the recent profile and downward trajectory in some key areas, there is some area of concern, but nevertheless, we're rooting for him. He is slotted currently into the third spot into that rotation. We wish him nothing but the best, and hopefully this is a career year for him in West Sacramento. That's all we have for you today. We appreciate you tuning into this edition of A's Player Preview and Prediction, continuing on with Aaron Civale. As a reminder, we do release these episodes on our podcast platforms such as Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and so many more. Continue to like, listen, and download and support us wherever you can. And be sure to follow along on our socials on Instagram at A's Day Baseball Podcast, on X formerly known as Twitter at A's Day Baseball, and check us out on our YouTube channel where we have video editions of our episodes as well as A's player interviews and baseball content creation destination trips where you can see the A's live on the road and experience a fun-filled weekend and baseball weekend experience as well. And to become an official subscriber of A's Day, check us out on our Patreon site, patreon.com/A's Day for just $2 a month. You'll be entered to win monthly A's Day t-shirts, A's autographed memorabilia, future A's game tickets, and so much more as we are able to grow this platform collaboratively. Hope you all have a great start to your weekend. We are going to continue rolling on with these A's player preview and prediction episodes, one per day. So tomorrow, we're going to continue on talking about Darell Hernandez. Take care, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow. Until next time, Holy Toledo. Let's go A's.